yeah, so it just had this natural driving ability. So we thought, I thought, okay, what's the next step up? It's not stimulate. The quad bike had almost come to a complete stop. He wasn't using it anymore.
Who's the scariest driver? Mum. Oh, that's even a bit hard. Why is that? You should go faster. Your mum.
No, Dad goes faster, but she's kind of clumsy.
But if anyone who's interested in sponsoring was listening, that could be anything from sponsoring a race to an outfit or parts of the vehicle or new tyres for a race. So
Correct.
They don't have to come in at the full level.
No.
So you'll let me come along to one of your races when you are, will you? You give me a ticket.
Free ticket.
Oh, I'm going to shake hands on that. We're definitely going to do that. That'll be good. Welcome back to Success is a System. Today I'm here with Maria Simpson and we're going to be joined in a moment by Stuart and Caiden. And the main focus of today is Caiden. And Caiden is 10 years old, just 10. He's been racing go-karts since he was 8. But actually, he's been driving. He started off with a 24-volt tractor at the age of 3. He was onto quad bikes by the age of 4. He wanted to be a Formula One racing driver. And that's how most Formula One racing drivers start. In fact, I made a little list of it earlier when I was looking, and Sebastian Vettel started at 3, was Formula One at 19. Jenson Button started at 6, Formula One by 20. Kimi Räikkönen was 10 when he started, 22 he was Formula One. Michael Schumacher started at 4 and was Formula One by 22. Max Verstappen was 5, Formula One by the age of 17. Lewis Hamilton 8, Formula One by 22, and so on. And actually go-karting seems to be the place where they'll start and then they go through to Formula 3, Formula 2 and then Formula 1. So it's a well-trodden path. But obviously, we're going to see that Caiden is a bit nervous and we're just going to chat and I want to talk about some other things as we go along. So you're 10 now. When was you 10? Because I thought you were 9 actually when we first started talking to your mum. So what's your birthday? When's that?
My birthday's in October 29.
Okay, so you're nearly 10 and a half then. Is that right?
Yeah.
So what year are you in at school?
I'm in year 5.
And does that mean next September do you go to a big school or is it the year after?
No, I go in year 6.
Right.
No, year 7.
No, I'm year 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, and September.
And then you go to the big school for year 7 after next year, yeah? Do you know what school you're going to go to when you get bigger?
No.
Cool.
Yeah.
And do you have to take any time off school for your go-karting at the minute?
Yeah.
Are they quite good with it?
Yeah, they're very flexible with it.
Oh, that's good. So when I first spoke to your mum, she was telling me that you've been go-karting since you were 8. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And were you terrified when you first got in the go-kart? Because they go, how fast do they go?
60, yeah.
60 miles an hour when you were just 8?
Yeah.
I bet your mum and dad were more scared than you watching. Were you the youngest person out there at the time or on the track?
So, yeah. I think that's one of the youngest.
And your mum said earlier, the first day you went on the track, a lot of the other mums and dads that were out there with their children thought you'd been doing it a long time. What do you think? What do you feel like when you're out on the kart? What do you think about when you're driving around? Is it all about the winning, or do you get scared at all? Or?
I don't get scared.
Why do you think that is? Do you think that's because you've been doing it so long?
No, it's just I don't really get scared.
So you, is that because you started off at 3 with your motorised tractor?
No, I don't think it's because of that. I think it's just because I'm like kind of used to like driving things.
So you've been doing it so long it don't scare you anymore? Because I remember watching Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen, and they were like 200 miles an hour and they're like this close. I thought, how are they not terrified? Do you not get scared when you're right near to somebody or they're right near to you? No? No? And so what are you looking for when there's people in front of you? Are you looking for a gap to get through? Or?
Sometimes I do, yeah. Then I just wait and then wait for a gap.
Yeah. So you quad biked when you were 4 till you were 8. Is that right? Did you do any competitions then, or were you just enjoying it?
On my quad bike or just...
On your quad bike, yeah.
No, I was just like playing on it when I was at home.
But your mum and dad said that you got into top gear and was going the fastest speed all the time and it still wasn't enough. So what speed do you think that did, do you know? Dad, do you know roughly?
About 30, I would say.
30.
25
so you literally
to 30.
doubled the speed when you went to a go-kart, yeah?
Yeah.
So I was just saying before you came in that a lot of these drivers that I listed down, Sebastian Vettel, Jenson Button, Kimi Räikkönen, Michael Schumacher, they all started in karting as well. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did.
And so would you like to follow in their footsteps and go to sort of Formula 3, Formula 2, Formula 1?
Yeah.
Or do you just want to jump it all and go straight to Formula 1?
Maybe some practicing Formula 3 and Formula 2.
Yeah, and do you know what those cars are like? You've seen any yet?
Yeah.
Where did you see them?
Me and my dad's been to Silverstone a couple of times.
Oh, really?
And, yeah. And I've watched a couple of races with F2.
And still not scared of going that fast? No?
Mm.
Is your dad a fast driver or your mum?
Dad.
Who's the scariest driver? Mum. Oh, that's even a bit hard. Why is that? Does she go faster? Your mum.
No, Dad goes faster, but she's kind of clumsy.
Oh dear, that's terrible. I bet they never break the speed limit though, do they?
That doesn't go in a car, does it?
No. Well, listen, one of the things I often think about, and my girls are bigger now, but is when you're doing anything and you want to get better at it, you have to set goals. Do you set any goals? Do you got like races you want to win or you know, people you want to beat? Do you end up racing the same people often, or what do you do to sort of get faster and better, and how does that work?
You practice, don't you? We practice and practice.
So
and
are
practice.
you out often in it? How often are you out?
Nearly every weekend.
Every weekend, yeah.
Nearly, yeah.
And do you work on? Do you know how the kart works? Do you and your dad ever sort of fix it and repair it, or does your dad do all that stuff and you just
Dad
race it?
does all of that
That's
stuff.
easy, isn't it? Will he be part of your crew team when you Formula 1?
Yeah.
And we were talking earlier, and you told me whose team you'd like to be in when you Formula 1. What did you say?
Mercedes.
They're fantastic cars, aren't they? Yeah. Do you like them as road cars as well?
My dad did used to have a Mercedes.
Oh, cool. And I don't follow it too much. Who's got the best car, the fastest cars at the moment in Formula 1?
Probably it's Ferrari or Red Bull.
Red Bull.
Ferrari, Red Bull, yeah.
Fastest.
Fastest cars, but who did you say you was your favourite drivers?
Lewis Hamilton and all the Mercedes drivers.
Well, Lewis Hamilton started at the same age as you. He started at 8.
Did they?
Did you know that? Yeah, same age. He started karting.
What about Lando Norris? Because you've got a Lando Norris kart.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was your favourite driver last week.
So one of the things, actually, I used to work for an oil company, and we did used to sponsor the oil side of jet petrol. Used to sponsor a racing driver, and it was loads of money. Is this loads of money, karting? Does it cost a lot?
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
And one of the things he had to learn to do, even though it wasn't natural, was because when someone sponsors a driver, they're kind of sponsoring the car or the kart to start with, But eventually you become famous and they have to get you to come along and speak to people and do that. Would you enjoy going and meeting companies and meeting fans and that to get sponsorship?
Yeah.
And so I noticed you got a Nike top on, but which fashion brand would you like to be a sponsor if you could have any choice of brand?
Well, like if I could sponsor someone.
No, if they sponsored all your clothing, if you get free clothes off of any fashion brand, who would it be?
Probably Nike and Adidas.
Nike and Adidas, okay, cool. And is there any brands in the suits that you wear? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are brands, but they're not like Nike or Adidas.
What would they
brands. OMP.
OMP, yeah?
Yeah. Sparko.
Sparko.
I think that's it.
We need one of them to sponsor you, don't we? So
Yeah.
that'd be good. So, Mum and Dad, one of the things Stuart and Maria, one of the things that we've been talking about, and I think it's a big thing, and obviously at the moment Caiden's enjoying the racing, but tell us a bit about the journey. What you didn't do racing before. It's not like it's a sport, because a lot of parents who take their kids to football, they're almost trying to fulfill the dream that they didn't have as a footballer or so. But it didn't come from that, it came from his ability and hand-eye coordination. Tell us a bit about how that all started.
We did football as well, and he's pretty good at football as well, but okay. But no, it started because I think we just, like you just mentioned, when he had a tractor, when he was a battery operated tractor, 24 volt, and he'd drive that very fast around the garden and on the drive and through a very tight gateways, which you had like a centimetre either side to get it through, and he'd drive it through at full speed. And you know, when you're 3 years old and we're trying to protect him, we thought, ooh. But yeah, that got too slow for him. So the next thing we bought him was a quad bike when he was 4, and then he drove that for a few years, and in the fastest gear again through the tight little gap, and so it just had this natural driving ability. So we thought, I thought, okay, what's the next step up? It's not stimulate. The quad bike had almost come to a complete stop. He wasn't using it anymore. Yeah. He wasn't getting any stimulation from it. So the next thing, I thought, okay,
Didn't you buy the simulator for Christmas?
Oh, what, sorry?
The simulator thing for Christmas.
Simulator?
The Stimmo thing.
No, that came after. That came after, yeah. So the next thing, I did found some places where you could go karting outside and test drive a kart effectively, because it's not that easy to. It's not something you can just. Well, it's a huge investment, obviously, first and foremost. Before you go out and buy it, you need to make sure that the kid's going to enjoy it and going to, and he's able to do it. So I found a place near Liverpool where we could go and test, a place called Houghton Park, where you could go and test the kart, and if they enjoyed it, you can also purchase from them as well. So we did that, and he just took to it like duck to a water, and really enjoyed it, and So
you're going to show me some of his trophies in a bit. You won races, or you've been on the podium, I saw. What did that feel like?
Yes, you've had one.
Oh yeah,
victory.
One heat I did win, but I didn't finish the line first.
So you did win.
You did win.
You became vice champion.
Well, that's great.
Second.
And in age groups as well.
Yes,
right?
so there's different categories, and like you correctly said, there's age groups. So his age he's in cadet class, which is 8 to 12. Well, 8 to 13. It's
so
just
so is it the young end of that?
So there is a younger one, which is called Bambino. They can start when they're 4 and 4 till 8. But those are much smaller, much slower karts. The cadet class, which Caiden's in, the karts will do 60, top end 65 miles an hour. So yeah, he's in that class at the moment.
Getting some of the trophies he's getting and at this age is at the bottom end of that age group. So
yeah, he's at the bottom end.
More of an achievement.
And it's a big achievement, and he's improving massively. Just in the last 6 months alone, he's improved a massive amount. And this year we're entered into several championships, national championships, 2 national championships. We've got one coming up in a few days' time.
What I find exciting is you're not scared and you're not nervous at all. So that's going to be great to be doing that with no fear. I did notice that some of these drivers have no fear as well. So that's going to be amazing. But it cost a load of money. Is that right? How much do you think you spent so far? Did you say that you haven't told Maria?
Yeah, that I haven't. So I would estimate. I would say we're in the region of around £30,000 so far.
In 2 years.
In 2 years, yeah, and that's conservative spending as well. I mean, we've been very thrifty with some things, and we're not using brand new tyres every weekend like lots of other people are able to. So we're really keeping things as tight as we can.
So, and one of the things we talked about was finding sponsors, because if that's 30 grand in 2 years, £15,000 a year is a kind of minimum, being really careful and frugal.
Yeah.
I guess you're saying it's upwards from there. What sort of range are we talking per year to really
per year to be
competition level?
To be competitive, to be truly competitive on national level, and to really increase the development. We're at that stage where we've personally financially taken him as far as we can. If he needs to continue, if we want to continue his development, we need to be spending in excess of between 20 and 30,000 per season. So that's per year.
But if anyone who's interested in sponsoring was listening, that could be anything from sponsoring a race to an outfit or parts of the vehicle or new tyres for a race. So
Correct.
They don't have to come in at the full level. That'd be wonderful, wouldn't it? But,
yeah, it would be wonderful. But yeah, realistically, it's likely to be, like you mentioned tyres, for example. So a set of tyres is around £200.
Yeah.
So a set of tyres, we would generally, at the moment, we've been making a set of tyre last 2-3 races. Yeah. Now, to be competitive, we need to be doing that every weekend. We need to be using a brand new set of tyres every weekend. So £200 a weekend, that could pay for a set of tyres. And that would make a massive difference. That sponsor, the company or whoever, what we could offer them is, well, a variety of things depending on how much they wanted to be involved with us. But that could be a simple thing, just advertising on the kart or advertising on his helmet, branding, clothing branding, or anything. There's a huge range of branding and sponsorship opportunities, really.
But you got to follow your dreams, don't you? And it doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
The reality is, it doesn't matter what you say when you are young, because it's
Exactly.
your dream. You can change that dream. You can take it wherever it goes. But it's really important to have a dream and follow a dream. And so your dream's Formula One.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Can you see yourself there?
Yeah, I can.
Driving one of those cars, and when you watch it on telly, it doesn't give you
We often have talks in the night, and Caiden keeps saying to me, "You know what, Mommy? I see myself as being a Formula One driver. I see myself. That's where I see myself driving one of those cars."
I mean,
and I know it's a dream.
It's a dream, and as parents, we really want to support his dream.
I hope you're enjoying Success is a System. Every Tuesday we launch it on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. Drop us a note and tell us who you would like to see or hear on Success is a System, or what subjects you'd like us to cover to help you and your business. Success is a System. Like, subscribe, and make sure you get it every Tuesday for great lessons and systems that have made people wealthy, healthy and successful.
And there's no reasons why we shouldn't be, because he's got the talent, and we feel, that with his ability and his natural ability, and with continued progression, there's no reason why he couldn't make it. But there's thousands of other children who obviously want the same dream. So it's very, very, very difficult thing to try and.
But equally, one of the things that so when I did Secret Millionaire on telly, we had some dinners afterwards that in the months afterwards that we went to. As a behavioural profiler, I found myself thinking, what is it that makes someone successful? Is it men versus women? Is it young versus old? Is it, had a great education versus a rough education? What's the common factors amongst all these secret millionaires? And I couldn't find any sort of physical or upbringing or educational attribute. What it was they were all passionate about what they did. And ever since then, I've thought a lot about, because there'll be people who say, oh, you got to forget that go-karting and this dream of Formula 1. You focus on your maths, focus on your English, and of course, you should do the best you should do at school, because that's really important as well, and that'll help you in what you want to do, but never lose your dream. And one of the examples I give is, someone like Mick Jagger. You probably don't know Mick Jagger, do you? He's in a band called the Rolling Stones, and he's had hits in music for 60 years, 6 decades, like 6 times as long as you've been alive. And I could imagine 60 years ago his parents saying something like, what do you mean you're going to dance around on stage? What do you mean you're going to sing? He didn't exactly have a face for pop star either, did he? And I don't know that his voice was best or his dancer was best, but he was an incredible entertainer and a good musician. And I often think if the parents had talked him out of that or hadn't supported him in that dream, millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of people would have not ever had the benefit of seeing him on stage, of hearing his music. Of the passion that he shares, of the other bands that he's helped. So the worst thing I think a parent can do is say, don't be stupid, you can't be a racing driver, you can't be a pop star, you can't be a whatever it is. So, those dreams may change, but as parents, we need to feed those dreams, support those dreams as much as we can. And, one of the things that I was thinking about when we were going to talk today is what's too young to talk to a child about their goals or about their dreams? Or what's too old? If you leave it till they're a teenager, is it too late because they've already given up on 3 or 4 dreams? It certainly
would be in racing, in karting. It would be too late.
I went through the numbers. It's just they don't start late at all, do they?
No, not so.
So, I always thought with my girls, we let them try a lot of things, because they were girls. We did the girly stuff, which was ballet and what have you, gymnastics, and they enjoyed that for a period, but it weren't their choice, so they didn't keep it up. But then they liked horses, and then they liked music, and my youngest is particularly passionate about music. My oldest is always interested in people, so it was far more around psychology and so on. But whatever that dream is, that's the most important thing. I know a lot of really, really successful people, and the most important thing is to follow your dream. Something that you feel, it's like, yeah, I can do that. I'm going to do that. And even when I talk to you, you may or may not be interested in something, but the fact you've got no fear. If I put many people of your age into a car or onto a quad, they'd be too scared to let it go. But you haven't got that fear, and you're excited about it, and you're already starting to visualize it. And I was trying to think earlier when we said about dreaming. I think it was either Napoleon Hill or W. Clement Stone who said, and they're both very old, I don't even think they're alive anymore, but they said what the mind of man can conceive and believe, they can achieve. And whether it's landing on the moon or all the things that the people who are the most successful achieve, they dream it first. They see it first. They feel it. They kind of know. I don't know. I'm only 10, but I'm going to be a Formula 1 racer. I'm only 11, but I'm going to play for England. And it's a knowing inside, and it breaks my heart to think that many parents will knock that out of their children because they say, no, you should do this. You should. I was a banker. My dad was a banker. My dad's dad was a banker. You've got to be a banker. Or I was this, and they force children into something they just don't want to do. Yeah, exactly. To me, develop the strengths, manage the weaknesses, feed the passion. But part of why we were here today was it's a huge cost that you guys have got to. It's not just supporting emotionally. It's not just supporting because you're driving all over the country, and pretty soon I don't know, when would you start doing international? Is that what age do they start doing European and stuff? Your age already? So yeah.
I think, yes.
Yeah, so suddenly, you know, there's not just the cost of the kart, the cost of the kit, the cost of the new wheels, the cost of a spare engine, all of that. There's the cost of the travel. You've got to stay somewhere, you've got to eat away. And I know you try and do that cheaper with the caravan and everything else, but, you know, soon when you've got to go international and you've got to drive, that's a long drive.
Yeah, you got to get
all
the
of this.
equipment
So
over.
I know one of the biggest issues for you is sponsorship. And so, you know, I'm hoping if there's someone out there, and I do know a lot of people who are in huge companies or small and medium companies that are really successful, and often they think about, we want to support a charity or support ambition, passion, and what have you, but they don't know what to go with. So for me, the key thing is keep sharing Caiden's story and thinking about, because often people don't know, what does 200 quid do? What does 100 quid do? You know, because you might not get someone who will do £10,000, but you might get 20 people to do £500. You might get 40 people to do 250, and it all helps, because otherwise it's coming out of your pocket and you're both having to kind of work to manage that. And you've got, is it Lily May as well, the little one? So, you know, you've got a little sister, and do you think she'll be racing? No, I think.
I really hope not.
She's got different dreams.
Yeah, she's mine to dancing.
Oh, is she? Okay. So,
She's a good doctor as well.
she's a doctor.
No,
Good
she's
pretend doctor.
Yeah, good pretend.
But you see, she might be pretending like that now, because that's the way that she's dreaming about what she wants to do.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, parents, you're really lucky because you've got two parents who support you. Sometimes they support you too much and you feel a bit pressured, but they are supporting you. And, you know, for me, one of the things I worked with Joe Valenti of the trade group, and Joe was an apprentice winner.
Yeah.
And the trade group has helped thousands of plumbers and electricians and scaffolders and bricklayers and everything else. And what they do is, if you like, some people do well or don't do well at school, but maybe a lot of these people maybe didn't do well at school, so they went into a trade and they learned plumbing. And so then suddenly they've got an ability to bring income in from being a plumber or an electrician. But then they're limited by how much they can earn as a plumber or an electrician.
Yeah.
So the trade group teaches them how to stop working on the tools and start working on the business. And on average, within a year of helping any business, we get them to 370% of their turnover than when they started with us. So already it's a 4 times multiplier. And it's essentially, the reason I mention it is about saying, okay, you've learnt the plumbing, you spent 3 years to become qualified to do what you do in the plumbing or electrics or bricklaying or whatever. Now you've got to learn how to work on the business side of it. And equally, there's a point at which you need to work on the business side of this. And that is, where do we raise the money? You know, it's been £15,000 a year on a shoestring for the first 2 years. It could be £50,000 a year within a couple of years. And so it's like, okay, you've learned how to work the car, you've got the contacts for the car, you're supporting the racing, but you now need to say, how do we do the marketing?
Yeah.
You know, how do we raise the sponsorship? How do we get him coaching from a qualified coach that can help him with driving skills and watch his driving? And teach him all of the bits that take these people that we talked about earlier on to be Formula One, all of which has a cost, but not all of it is cost. So, you know, some of it might be going to a local business hub and seeing if they've got any digital marketers and saying, look, I know you charge people, but we haven't got the money to pay, but would you be interested in, if you put your branding on the bottom of our social media, in helping us with a social media campaign?
Yeah.
So that rather than the odd Facebook post, we can get all of your races, all of your pictures on TikTok and on Pinterest and on Instagram and on all of the social medias, because there could be someone out there desperate to support and sponsor, but like me, they don't do Facebook.
Yeah.
They may do TikTok, they may do Instagram, or they may do LinkedIn. So you've got to start becoming multimedia, and if you haven't got those skills, or you haven't got the time for those skills because you're already running all over the country, you know, it's going to a business hub and finding someone who might sponsor that. You might then get someone else who will say, well, look, it's a business, legitimate business, and there's tax benefits that you can gain, but I'll do your accounts for you.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know from Peterborough, there's most accountancy firms, most legal firms do pro bono to a certain percentage each year, and each partner will have a pro bono charity they support, might have a pro bono sponsorship to help a budding business. And actually, if I look at some of the Formula One drivers, they all recognise that sometimes they got to stand up and be seen taking photos with Red Bull or with their partners. And you've said you don't mind doing that with them when you get older as well, which is good, because suddenly you're going to be you are a great driver. You're going to be a great Formula One driver, but you're going to have to learn some other skills like what they call PR, public relations, and going along some events. And then you might need to learn public speaking, because you might stand up on the stage and give out some of their people some awards and things. And none of that scares you, does it? It's great that you've got that passion, but also got that confidence. And so, to me, it's about now you can't just like piece it together. You've got to have a business plan, because it is a business. And one of the things I teach a lot is, and I'll give you a copy of my book before you go, if that helps you. But if not, you can find someone else. And it's a simple one-page strategic mapping. Where are you today? You've got a car. You've probably got lots of spares.
Yeah.
You've got a son who's passionate about it, who wants to do it, or who sees himself at Formula One. But in 3 years' time, we might need at least £100,000. We might need 2 or 3 cars, because we might need some spares. We need the money to put him through different training, and so we need to build a plan that says our future state is here. They're the goals we're going for. Our current state is where we are today. What different areas have we got to work on? Finance, marketing, fundraising, logistics of getting the thing around and so on, travel, and then say, okay, who's going to do that? What things have we got to do in each area to get us from where we are to where we want to be? And it sounds complicated, but my book will just guide you through in 10 chapters, building that one-page plan, so that you can all see it, you can all buy into it. It's not about making it complicated. It should be simple enough so that Caiden can understand it at 10, because if you all understand it, you're all pulling together towards one goal, and build that goal. And then I'll ask anyone who's watching this, if they know someone who might sponsor Caiden, or if they're interested in sponsoring Caiden, who wouldn't want to be one of the early sponsors of one of tomorrow's Formula One racing stars? And they'll be able to say, like Sarah Greene did, I spoke to him when he was 10 or 11 years old, and I knew he was going to have that. And you've looked me in the eye, and you're going to be Formula One racer, aren't you? And you know what? I think you'll enjoy the journey, because you're doing something you want to do. It's not, no one's making you do this racing. You're loving that. That's what you want to do, isn't it? Yeah. And it sounds like your school are supporting you as well and giving you some time off.
School have been fantastic,
And Mum and Dad are fantastic. And even Lily May, she's playing with someone else today while you're here.
Yes.
She's practicing to be a doctor. If ever you have an accident, she'll be able to help you as well. She'll be your on-team doctor for you.
Yeah, she could be. Yeah.
So what else? If you could ask Lewis Hamilton today any question, what would you ask him, do you think?
Would you like to meet him?
What was your biggest goal you've ever achieved?
The biggest goal?
Yeah.
What do you think he'd say, do you know? Because he's won loads of races, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Did you say what's his biggest goal that he hasn't managed to achieve?
No, what he has achieved.
Oh, what he has achieved.
You've not met him yet then, no?
No.
Maybe we'll ask somebody if you know Lewis Hamilton, share this out. Tell them Caiden wants to meet you. Caiden wants some mentoring, some advice, some sponsorship.
We've been lucky enough to go to Silverstone and see him drive past us very fast, haven't we? But that's as close as we've got to him.
I'm sure if you keep on keeping on and you build your confidence in all of those things, and you keep learning and keep working hard at all the things you do, and listening to Mum and Dad, because they're only doing it because they love you, and they're working really hard for that. I can see you being a Formula One racing driver. So you'll let me come along to one of your races when you are, will you? Will you give me a ticket?
Yeah.
Oh.
Free ticket.
I'm going to shake hands on that. We're definitely going to do that. That'll be good. Have you got any questions for me?
No.
What?
No, it's fine.
Well, I'll tell you what. When we're done, your mum's got my email and Dad's got my email. So if you think of anything later, you can always email me. And what I'll do is I'll start thinking of some of the people I know, and if I can find anyone who might sponsor you, I'll talk to them as well.
Yeah.
Between us, we're going to find some sponsors, I think.
Does
That sound good?
Sounds amazing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Success is a System, where we share people's experiences, the systems that they've used to make them successful, the systems that they're using, the behaviors that are important to success. And it was really interesting speaking to Stuart, Maria and Caiden about his journey, and how even at the age of 10, he's already 6 years into that journey of riding from an electronic vehicle to a quad bike, now to go-karting. And, you know, one of the questions it makes me ask, and I'd love to know your views on it as a parent, what age do we start teaching children or young adults about failure, about success, about teamwork, about goal setting, about the constituent skills that we need to put together to be successful in our chosen field? Because even in racing, it's not just about the driving, it's about understanding the PR elements, working with sponsors and so on as you go through that journey. So I hope you've enjoyed that. If you do know anyone who might sponsor Caiden, please do share with us, info@mikegreene.co.uk with an E on the end of Greene, and so we can help Caiden along that expensive journey. Wouldn't it be great to be someone who helped out, made a donation or sponsored him, and then within 10 years he becomes a Formula One racing driver? It's where they all started. He's already winning races. He's at the young end of his group, and yet is already beating people that are 2, 3, 4 years older than him. So if you can sponsor or know someone who can, please share this. Please let us know. We look forward to seeing you next time. If you've enjoyed, like, follow, subscribe, and we'll see you again.